Hi guys, welcome back. Lam Research never disappoints and delivered another solid quarter with record revenue of $4.3 billion and a record earnings per share of 8.27. The markets cheered and the stock price rose sharply from 550 to the current 624. So is it a good time to buy Lam? Let's check out the financial numbers. The revenue came in at $4.3 billion and management's outlook for the next quarter is $4.4 billion. As you can see from this chart, the revenue has been growing by leaps and bounds and is expected to continue to grow and remain strong. Lam produces complex equipment used in the wafer fabrication process in the semiconductor industry. Their customers include the giants of the semiconductor market such as Intel, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, Micron Technology, and Texas Instruments. Lam's revenue is expected to continue to grow into 2023 with the backdrop of a capacity crunch in the semiconductor market. Moving down the income statement, the cost of revenue has also risen in tandem with the growing revenue but at a slower pace. That translates into a growing gross profit and a high gross margin. As one of the market leaders in semiconductor equipment manufacturing, Lam is able to command a premium for its products and enjoy a high margin. But they do have a few strong competitors in applied materials, KLA, and ASML. The total operating expenses have been rising with the revenue but have flattened in the recent quarters at around $0.6 billion. The total operating expenses are made up of research and development and sales and general admin. Let's take a look at it in more detail. Being a leader in the space needs continued research and development, and the R&D expenses have been rising but have flattened for the past few quarters. And the sales and general admin has also been rising but at a slower pace. Although both of these components have been rising in absolute terms, the percentage in terms of revenue has reduced drastically. Sales and general admin have come down from 15% of revenue in 2013 to 5% in the most recent quarter. The research and development costs have dropped from 16.8% in 2013 to around 9% currently. And it is still trending down. It just goes to show how strong the semiconductor market is right now. It is driving record revenues, and companies that have market leadership are riding high on this wave and are translating the revenue into higher operational efficiency and profitability. On a side note, I've changed the charts to a dark theme. From the previous feedback, some of you have said that the dark theme works better for the technical analysis charts. So please let me know in the comments below whether it works better for these charts too. As you can see in this chart, the operating income has been growing rapidly and has doubled from just a year ago. After taking away other expenses and income tax, the net income came in at $1.2 billion. The net margin is a solid 27.4%. And the earnings per share has been rising and came in at 8.27 for this quarter. On a trailing 12 months basis or the annual proxy, the yearly earnings per share is 29.58 and is still growing. Moving on to the cash flow statement, the operating cash flow came in at $0.5 billion compared to the previous quarter's $1.4 billion. The drop was due to significant changes in working capital of $838 million. These are primarily attributed to an increase in accounts receivable, inventory, and prepaid expenses. It is normal that the working capital increases with the business activity, but it could also mean that Lam has been giving credit to its customers. I would like to see the accounts receivables and inventories stabilize over the next few quarters. The other number that I'm interested in the cash flow statement is capital expenditure. Understandably, it has grown with revenue. And that brings us to the vital financial number from the cash flow, the free cash flow. End of the day, the objective of the business is to make money, and free cash flow is the money that the business has made from its operations. But it is not provided in the cash flow statement. We have to take away the capital expenditures from the cash from operations to derive the free cash flow. I've done all the calculations and plotted the free cash flow chart here. Lam has been making money since 2013 and the free cash flow has moved into high gear since 2017 but with a few dips. It is normal for the free cash flow to fluctuate quarter to quarter due to changes in working capital and seasonality. That is why we plot the trailing 12 months free cash flow to smoothen the fluctuations and examine the overall trend. As you can see from this chart, the free cash flow has been trending up with a dip in 2020 but has since recovered. Lam has a dividend policy and they also buy back their shares. That has resulted in a negative cash flow from financing activities of $1.3 billion to $1.4 billion in the last few quarters. Lam paid $1.2 billion to repurchase shares in the last quarter alone and paid dividends of $185 million for the last 4 quarters. The overall cash position is still healthy with a massive share buybacks and dividend payout. That gives a quick ratio of 1.2, giving Lam a strong liquidity position. Lam's balance sheet is solid. with total assets coming in at $15.6 billion versus liabilities of $9.7 billion. Earlier, we saw how the increase in accounts receivable lowered the operating cash flow. Here's the trend of the accounts receivable that has been rising over the years with rising revenue, and the inventory has been rising with the revenue as well. Maybe this is the norm in the semiconductor equipment supply business. The accounts receivable, inventory, and cash make up the bulk of the total assets. The other big items are property, plant and equipment, and goodwill. On the liability side, the long-term debt is sticking out with $5 billion. While it has gone down a little from the high of $5.8 billion from 2 quarters ago, it is still high at $5 billion and is 31% of total assets. It would be great if Lam repaid its debt. Moving on to the technical analysis, this is the chart that I shared in my last video on Lam Research. I observed three key patterns on this chart then. First is the double top formation, second is the MACD divergence, and third is the reducing volume. And my prediction was for Lam's share price to correct to a lower level. I have the video linked in the description box below. Here's the updated chart with the same trend lines. Indeed, the price did correct from 637 to 550 before rebounding to the current 624. A breakout from a trend channel will result in either a sideways consolidation or a deeper correction. The current activity shows a sideways consolidation is panning out. Now the question is, where do we go from here? There is good support at 550. It was tested a few times before the price rebounded strongly from this level. There is another support resistance zone at 610 where the price seems to be holding right now. And there is overhead resistance at 670. The price did break out from the blue trend line to the upside. There is also another possible trend channel in yellow here, and the price has also broken out of this trend channel. But the price never moves in a straight line, as you can see from the previous price action. Each time the price moves up strongly, it was followed by a deep correction. My thoughts are there is going to be another drop but will be supported by the yellow or blue trend line, and the price will move higher from there. Lam is a solid company. They are financially strong and are firing on all cylinders with high gross and net margins. The PE ratio is near their average levels and the PEG ratio is below 1, making them a value buy based on growth. But I would not rush and chase the stock. I would wait for it around 570 to 580 level. I hope this sharing has been useful. Do subscribe if you would like more videos on high growth and profitable stocks. Also, I'm thinking of producing more videos focusing on the technical analysis as well. Do let me know in the comment section below if you like more technical analysis videos. Thanks for watching, have a profitable week, and I'll see you in the next one.